Graves, Pressure Washing Institute Contractors First. Guys, we're just about 2 weeks out from the TChem event on the 20th and 21st. If you guys haven't gotten registered yet, this is a free event. And I'm going to be doing something special there the day before for about 3 or 4 hours. It's going to be limited to about 20 or 30 guys. I'll have that registration up tomorrow, and you guys can get signed up for it. But it's a 2-day free event, guys, completely free. It's going to be simply an amazing, amazing event. Now, getting on to this sales thing that I want to teach you guys a little bit about acquisitions. Now, look, this video got sprayed tonight about somebody saying, "Hey, man, my relatives call me and they want a discount," and he was like, "No, you're paying the same price as everybody else." Well, guess what? Guess how much friends and family are if I'm going to go power wash something for them? It's absolutely $0. Always has been $0. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that after I tell you about a little bit of a quick story on a phone call that I took. And this is how this came up, because this was similar to, hey, your relatives calling you. Well, I had a elderly woman call. This is some time ago, man. I mean, I don't know how many years ago it was. A long time ago. And I don't do residential, but because I'm highly SEO'd, I would always give my leads to Ty, who was basically, he's probably the largest residential guy in Phoenix, almost $2 million company. And I would always give those leads to him. And 9 times out of 10, if they had called me from Google, they had called him. So one day, this is a big deal here. So make sure that you're listening to what I'm trying to tell you here. So the woman called, and she basically explained that she had been in a retirement community and that she was on a fixed income. And we've heard these hard luck stories. And her problem was the HOA was they were going to give her a $75 or $90 violation for her son, her knuckle brain son. And I'm going to tell you the story about the son because he's involved in this. He basically had an old car, and he was on hard times too, because I said, can your son pay for it was his car. Why don't he pay to have the oil removed or pay the fine for you? Well, the son had been living in this retirement community with his kids while he was going through a bad divorce. And obviously we know all that, what that means. He was broke too. And so the woman had an alternative. I asked her how much the lowest guy was. I was going to go out and actually do it for her and just get it done for her. I felt like, it just was chuck it to a community service project, right? Elderly person. Well, it found out that the son was willing to do something and take some advice from me. So I went ahead, and we didn't go out there. We never went out there. And everybody thinks, oh, you went out there and saved the day and you cleaned the oil spot for the elderly woman. And, she could go get her prescriptions and make sure she could get her grocery store list instead of spending it on $200 or $300 driveway cleaning. Well, we told her a simple little trick. And I got the son on the phone, and I said, hey, man, can you do this? Can you go down and get some peat moss and go get a can of carburetor cleaner? I said, that's all you're going to need, and a brush. And then he followed my instructions, did everything he's supposed to do. Cost him about $6 at that time to do it because he had a brush. He got the peat moss. He went ahead and got the carburetor cleaner. That was the most expensive thing. It was $3.75 or something like that, $4. And he got everything he needed, and he got the oil stain out of the concrete. And the woman called me back, and like they did it for $6. She was tickled pink. She was like, man, boy, thank you very much for telling me how to take care of that problem. Some of these guys were going to charge upwards of $300 to come out because they had to do the whole driveway, and I couldn't afford that, and I wouldn't have been able to get my medication for, a few months, and groceries would have been really tight, blah, blah, blah. And she was so overwhelmed with ecstatic that she was able to give her son these instructions, and the son was able to take care of the problem. And the management company absolutely loved it. Okay. The moral to this story here is that somebody on the internet said today that, basically they're going to charge their relatives no discounts even more. And I was trying to explain to them, I do my relatives and my friends for free. especially when I was first starting. And I remember that every November I would do, we did as many as 140 homes for free between November and January 1. And we used it as a training period for our new guys that were coming on, because January 1, we had big maintenance contracts because we were growing every year. So we had to hire more employees. So we used that opportunity, one, to build goodwill with all the close people that I know with inside of my power, called the Power Network. And we would do that. We would not only, for the good ones, we would not only power wash their homes and things like that, or clean their exterior homes. We would actually, some of them, we would leave a pie, and they got used to this for years and years and years. And it was probably one of the best marketing things I did as a new business. And I always forget sometimes, new guys always ask, what should I do right now? What should I do right now? I don't have any business. I always tell them, go out there and wash for free. I don't even care if they're your friends, just wash for free, because that's what you do sometimes, and that builds you a power base. And what it does really is it enlists a team. You got this army of salespeople out there for you. Because one, if you're washing them because they're a great client and you're doing it for free, you're building goodwill and you're building trust and you're building obligation. And that means that they're going to continue using you and have a relationship with you, and they're not going to price shop you. Okay. So for me to go out and do a $300, $400, $500 house for somebody that's got $1 million contract with me, or $100,000 contract with me, or $70,000 contract with me, that's really nothing. That's really nothing. That's just part of the acquisition cost, part of taking care of those clients. And no, it's not bribery. It is not bribery. Now I'm going to switch back to you about this story that I just told you. The story that I just told you, I want you to understand this. So there was an HOA involved. It was in a retirement community, a very, very large developer, and they owned lots of power centers, which were commercial shopping centers. And the funny thing is that this developer, where it develops all of these communities, owns all the retail. So they got locked down on the retail, and they had built these things on the outskirts of our communities. So in other words, these retirement communities were not, in town. They were being built a few miles outskirts of town. And so when they built the power centers around them, they owned all that real estate. So if a grocery store chain went in there, a Walmart, anything went in there, they were paying them rent. And it was very smart of these developers. Well, here's the craziest thing in the world. There was two great things that happened. There was actually three great things that happened to us. So giving an elderly woman to solve her problem, a tip that cost her $6 to get the oil stain out of the driveway. I want you to understand. I want to tell you what it turned into. First and foremost, it turned into goodwill, and it made that woman not have any stress. Okay. And we would want our grandmother or elderly relative not to have any stress if they were stressed like that and they really needed something. And so it was just a great community effort, and made me feel good too. Who knew? As a younger Ron Musgrave, who knew what this was going to turn into? But this turned into a multi-million-dollar retail situation. Now that I reflect back on this, I think about how big it really was. And the funniest thing in the world is, it was not only the retail side of their management, but they also managed the community, basically the community that managed the senior community, and the managers heard about it. And when the managers heard about it, they put my tip in their bulletin. And back then, people actually read these things. They were called the newsletters in the communities. And they read the bulletin, and the phones rang off the hook from it, okay? One, because here we are again, DIY people will do things themselves, but there's a host of other people that will not want to do it. They will not want to do it. But because we did it for this woman that they knew in their community, and we extended that out to them and said, wow, that company just told you how to do it. They didn't come out and charge you hundreds of dollars. Well, we want them to come out and charge us hundreds of dollars, because we've got problems with our driveways and we want to get them taken care of too. Now, I don't do residential. But the phone calls still came in, and we were able to send those phone calls over to our competitor that I told you earlier in the video, and he took care of the business for them. We really weren't concerned with that business, but we did get their retail business, which is what we did want. Okay, so goodwill of the woman, a competitor of ours that's a friend, got a bunch of residential stuff out of it. We literally it's been millions of dollars worth of retail acquisition over the years. And third, okay, you know the lame brain son that was getting divorced, that was broke, okay, when he got back up on his feet, he became a decision maker for another company and hired us also because he remembered that we helped his mother out. Guys, you got to do these types of things. You have to. You're building a business, a strong business within your community. This is how you do it. This is how you build trust with your community. This is how other people trust you. Okay, it's gonna be a great thing, and you guys have to make sure that you don't trip over those. Don't be penny foolish, man. Don't be. It didn't take anything for me to tell that person the secret of how to remove that oil stain. By the way, you also learned that tonight, that a little bit of carburetor cleaner, a brush, and some peat moss will take an oil stain out of a piece of concrete. Not many people know that, but you listen to this video tonight, and now you know that. And guess what? If a person doesn't want to pay you $325 to service their driveway, and they're telling you that they're on hard times, tell them the secret. Say, hey man, you got an auto parts store and a Home Depot near you, go get some peat moss, go grab a can of carburetor cleaner. But probably now that translates to about $8. I mean, carburetor cleaner is still going to be like $4 or $5, maybe $6. I don't know. And the peat moss is nothing. It's nothing. So let them know. And I'm sure they got a brush. They just need a brush. Every household has a brush. You solve their problem for them. And who knows what it may turn into for you. And on the note of doing all your relatives and all your close friends and all your great clients, definitely do them by your choice. Don't do everybody for free, but don't be worried about charging those people. Those people can become a referral network that's monstrous. It's called your power base. They can become salespeople. You can have an army of salespeople because guess what? Top of mind awareness, which is called TOMA. If you are doing this for your friends, they will never forget what you do, and they will be glad that you did it for them. And usually good people will reciprocate something positive. Yeah, don't look for it. Don't expect it. It'll come if it happens. When I gave that woman that $6 trick to take that oil stain, man, all I was thinking about was she was going to be able to eat and she was going to be able to get her prescriptions. That's the only thing I expected out of that. But it turned into something amazing. Amazing. Guys, do me a favor. I got stories like this. I got so many stories like this. I used to just go out and try to find things to do that you could do for the community. And I do different things now because I throw money where I should be throwing my time at it more. And we all need to do more of that. But sometimes time is very valuable. So sometimes we throw money at things, and good things can still come from that. But the reality of it is, if you don't have any money, take some time, help somebody in your community, help your own relatives, do something for your better customers, and don't worry about charging them. And guys, this isn't a residential sales tip. This is a commercial sales tip. You can't do a residential person's house for free because they're not going to do it again for 5 or 10 years. So, or 3 or 5 years, or 3 to 5 or 10 years. But we're talking about commercial jobs, residual income accounts that repeat over and over again. $1 million, $100,000 contracts, guys. This is what we're talking about. Ron Musgraves, Pressure Washing Institute, Contractors First. Guys, make sure you go to that TCAM event right there. It's July 20th, 21st. It's this month. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. Guys, get registered. I'm going to be there. I'm going to do a little commercial sales thing the day before. It's going to be a surprise. It's going to be the first time I've ever done this. So make sure you come out, check it out. you want to make more sales. You want to be a better salesperson. You want to run a business a little bit better. Hey man, all these guys in this industry, all these other guys on the internet, all these other YouTube gurus, they're all using or some part of my program or some part of my tactics. Because guess what? I pretty much invented most of it.